Hey everyone, welcome to the Permission Portal with Paulmarq and Laz. I'm Paulmarq.
I am Laz. Let's open the portal.
So today's episode is about being seen while in progress. I've heard many stories and superstitions around not letting people know when you're working on something
Mm,
or sharing what you're working on. So,
yep.
what are your thoughts on that, Laz? Weefly.
Mm. Well, for me, I've done both, but for personally, most authentic is sharing what I'm working on. At the same time, for some people, it could be authentic to not share until they're finished, and then for others, it could be inauthentic. So it really depends on the person and my how I see it.
I've seen so much in the mindset, and of course, people who are doing magic and people who have the superstitions, and it's don't ever tell anyone that you're doing this, that, or the other. Even as far as if you're pregnant, don't tell anyone until the baby's due. Doing things in secrecy.
Mm.
And I see that for some people, that is how they approach the world. And it's like, well, I'm going to do this. Let me cover it up. And then I'll show up with it completely done. And that can feel inauthentic when a person around you is doing that. I had a friend who was like that. We used to call him the sneaky sister because he was always saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this." And then he'd come back and be like, "Look what I just did." It was interesting because we actually went to massage school together. He ended up dropping out. So that was a thing that was kind of between us. It was unspoken. Like I knew that he dropped out, so it wasn't a secret. He felt a certain way about it. 7 years later, he comes up and he shows me his license. And he's like, "Oh, I went back to school and I finished it and I just graduated. Let's celebrate." And I was like, "Why didn't you tell me? I could have helped you with studying or anything." And he's like, "Well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to disappoint you if I didn't finish." And so that is a thing that is really real for me in this space of not being seen as you are a work in progress.
Shame makes people want to hide. So
Yeah.
if he was afraid of disappointing you, well, what kind of space is that? That's a shame space. Not good enough. Wrong,
Mhm.
working bad. You quit last time and now you quit again type thing. So we know this, but disappointment, if you get disappointed, that's your emotional response. That has nothing to do with
Exactly.
him. He didn't disappoint you. You disappointed yourself based on your expectation.
Right.
So yeah, but a lot of people like to use disappointment as projected towards someone else as a shame mechanism.
Well,
Control.
and it's their own idea of somebody not loving them because they didn't do something. It's like it's that fear of being rejected, fear of being looked down upon. And a lot of us do have that somewhat. I remember, being in theater, there was a time where I was tired of auditioning just because it was being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, and then you may or may not get the part. And it was great when I was getting cast all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a time when I went to a Dallas Children's Theater audition. It was, I forget the show, but it was a show that had a family in it. And I remember seeing people, and the writing was on the wall. There was either a traditional white cast that looked like a whole family, or there
Yeah.
was non-traditional cast where everybody was a different ethnicity. And when I saw that, and I was like, oh, this is what they're doing. And because my degree is in directing, I could see what was going on. And when I did see the final cast, it was that traditional white cast. And it was like, oh wow. And that was the thing that really got me because that was something that I don't have control over. And I realized it wasn't about my acting talent, but I did realize that because of my look, I was not getting cast.
For sure.
And that was, in hindsight, that was years ago. So I'm not even remembering what show it was. I just remember that moment where I figured out I'm probably not going to get cast in this. That was one of the times where I got a little disenchanted with acting.
Yeah, I feel you. I've had a experience of getting disenchanted in my own journey. So back in 2016, I had like all these different things going on, crushing a lot of different things. And at the very beginning of 2017, one of the things that seemed like it was really taking off fell apart. And I fell apart. I was depressed for like 6 months. And even though I was still trying to work, still showing up on social media, there was a part of me that just didn't feel like sharing very much with people. I didn't feel like I was even my whole self. And it was about a year and a half after I came out of that depression. I'm working on building this real estate fund, this capital group, and my homies, they're not like social media people, and they didn't want anybody to be on social media. I was like, I'm a social media person. And then I remember going to Landmark Forum, and right after the Landmark Forum, I don't know, something clicked in me and was like, I'm done. I had made a post that week, and then for a year and 3 months, I was not on social media. I'm going to stay off of social media. I'm going to get these millions of dollars. And then when I get these millions of dollars, I'm going to come back on social media and show everybody that I did it. So for me, what happened was I realized that I was hiding. And I was hiding because I didn't feel like I was good enough yet to be back on social media to show anybody anything. I needed to go blow it up first. And so that was shame. And at the time, I didn't realize have the language I have now, but I went and got basically released a whole bunch of funky emotions and realized that's what I was doing, and got back into fitness coaching and was very scared to tell everyone what I'd been doing for the last year and 3 months while I wasn't on social media. And now I'm back and I'm doing fitness coaching, but I did. For some people, if you don't have the emotion, this is at least my projection. If a person does not have the emotional fortitude to be able to share what they are doing and be seen in the process and take some possible criticism or haters and take that and not care what other people think about it, whether you finish the process or not, whether you achieve the goal or not, then yeah, it's going to be functional for them to keep protect their energy.
And that criticism can feel funky.
Right.
I remember being on stage and if a director says, nope, you messed that up, do it again, or even just the process of being on book and not knowing your lines yet,
Mm,
there's a messy space there. And I think what happens is whenever a cast forms, especially for a theater production, there is that camaraderie that comes with, I'm not off book yet. Are you off book? Let's run lines. Let's work together. And these performances don't happen in their own bubbles. It's like
mhm.
you're as good as your scene partner. Just
Right.
like with us here, I'm only as good as you are, and you're only as good as I am. It's important for us to have this banter. It's important for us to be comfortable. It's important for us to communicate and even to have an inside joke or an inside language where we are just letting each other know what's going on. That reminds me of Carol Burnett and her pulling on her ear. That was a sign to her grandmother that she was okay.
Okay.
It became her gimmick, but that's how that started. And so I think it's important to be able to actually, it's affirming. It's not just important, it's affirming to be able to check in with someone and to have that accountability partner, to be
Mhm.
able to talk to somebody about where you are in the process. And there are some people who don't want the accountability because they're afraid of the shame that comes with what if I don't hit that mark in this time?
Mhm.
And as an accountability coach myself, I don't shame somebody for not hitting their mark. I celebrate that they got a little bit closer. And it's only when you are just not doing anything that there's a criticism of, okay, and it's not even a criticism, it's what's in the way, what's
And
holding you back.
I think also sometimes it can be funky because some people are going through a process that feels funky to them
Hmm?
because it's not a process that all people go
Through.
through when it comes to having a baby. Some people they get pregnant like that. And then there's some who don't. And then there's other things that get to happen in order for that person to get pregnant. And so sometimes those things can feel real funky for the person who's experiencing that. And there can be a lot of shame with it, possible there's something wrong with me or whatever. So that could be a factor in not just that, but other things too.
I had a friend who went through a miscarriage and was really down on herself because of that. And this is a time when my mom was still around, and I told my mom, she was like, well, let me talk to her. And she said that she had multiple miscarriages before she ended up with me. It's interesting because I did a reading for her later in life from my mom. She had
Okay.
asked me, so near the end of her life, she had asked me if there was anything else energetically that she needed to do to get right. And
Okay.
so I went in and I did a reading for her. And one of the other siblings that could have been came through. And I was like, whoa, hey, what is this? Because
Wow.
my mom had always wanted a little girl. She married into families that had girls, but she never had one herself. Well,
Okay.
she had me. There was a sister out there that wanted
Yeah.
to say something to her, and I don't like it wasn't my message, so I don't remember all the things that came through. But yeah, and it was one of those things that I was like, well, obviously I have a sister that's over there that's waiting for you. And so whenever you're ready, it's going to be okay. She had so many tears after that reading. And it was like a feeling of relief.
That's
And
all.
it's interesting how many people are dealing with something in private and they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel safe because safety is a big thing. They don't feel safe enough to or connected enough to someone to be that vulnerable
Yeah.
and to be able to say, hey, I'm going through this. And I think it's important for us to have a person. And maybe it's not the person that's gone through it. Maybe it's just the person that we feel that we can talk to. But that's the part of a best friend. And for some people, it's the part of a sibling to
Yep.
have a person that you can just run everything through.
Yeah.
And a person that you know accepts you. You're good, you're bad, you're ugly, whatever.
It's a big deal.
Yes, it is. It's a very big deal. And one of the things that I've always done, like when people see my Facebook posts on my personal page, it's
Yeah.
open, it's public. I'm not trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm going through something, I will talk about it. And I've said multiple times that I will mess up publicly and loudly so that other people can get the lesson along with me. It's a great feeling when somebody randomly sends me a text or sends me a message or gives me a call and says, thank you for talking about X, Y, or Z or whatever it was, because I was going through that and I didn't know that anybody else went through it and I felt alone.
I remember having a conversation like that with one of my best friends when I lived in Dallas. I was talking about my relationship, and my homie was like, "Hey, I thought I was the only one." It's like, nope, not at all.
And when a person feels like they're the only one going through it, that's when they kind of clam up.
Think about, maybe you've heard the term or the saying. I know I heard this a lot, and I heard black people say this a lot growing up.
Mm.
Is you don't know me, or you don't understand what I've been through.
Right?
Maybe they do. Maybe they've been through it.
Yeah.
But just because you heard somebody else say that, and now you've been picked it up, and now you're saying it, and now you believe that nobody else can understand you. In
You
my
know,
opinion, that sucks. Like,
it's really funny. I actually said that earlier today at the dentist office.
you
Uh,
said that to the dentist?
so actually, no, it was the assistant. She
Okay.
asking me about like she was going in and getting me all prepped and you know how they put the bib on you and the glasses or whatever.
Yeah.
And she asked me how the traffic was getting over there because it's like it's about a 30-minute, 35-minute drive for me, you know,
Yeah.
to go over there. And she's like, "Well, how's the traffic?" And I said, "Well, they had blocked off some things. So a lot of roads that are normally like 4-lane highways became three, you know, and then people have to funnel and all the stuff. But Austin traffic is worse with merging because actually they're fixing it now, but there used to be like minimal on-ramps. It's like on the side road and then boom, you're on the highway. You had to be there. There were workers on the side of the road and they had three parts where they had coned it off. And there wasn't actual road construction. And she's like, yeah, it's because idiots on the highway are texting and driving and whatever. And I was like, you don't know me. You know?
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I will say, and I'm outing myself,
Yeah.
I have one of those wands that like hangs off the rearview mirror, and my phone mounts there. Sometimes I will have a Marco Polo conversation with somebody. It's like I'm not actively trying to text. I'm not thumbing it,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
but I can push a button and then answer something. Yeah,
Wait,
that has happened.
I use CarPlay. I mean, people text me, I respond through car. I have CarPlay in my car, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
texting and driving, but it's a hands free thing.
exactly,
My mom
exactly.
don't even like talking on the phone while she's driving. Even beats me. He's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm getting on the road, hanging up. I'm like, all right, well, I love you. I'll talk to you later.
I love that. So
You ain't playing around. Yeah.
I
What was
have a
that?
friend who he's a person who cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. And so he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's like,
I need to sit down and chew this gum. I would never be chewing gum.
he's, he's like, I need to focus on what I'm doing. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's interesting. He's got a lot of superstitions that are just like the old-timey type stuff. He was raised by his grandmother. And so there are a lot of different things. So he'll do things like get off the cell phone when it's a thunderstorm. And I was like, do you understand the reason for that was because we had landlines with
Yeah, that were connected.
wires.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Your
you're on a
phone
cell
ring.
phone. It's not going to get you. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, nope, I can't talk. And he's just right into it.
Thing.
Yeah.
One of my kids got out of the shower because it was raining. And I was like,
See?
thunder and lightning, right? I'm
Oh,
like, what's the deal? I remember my wife saying something about it, about lightning. I was like, this is the first time I've ever heard anybody getting out of the shower because of rain and thinking the lightning can strike somewhere and you get hit with electricity because you're in the shower.
yes.
I'd never heard that my whole life.
So people used to feel that way though,
Bruh.
because you're wet and not grounded.
Hmm.
So evidently, at some point in time, it must have happened to somebody.
Or,
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because there was iron piping and there were iron tubs at the time. So yeah, you would most likely get zapped.
bad.
But we don't have that anymore.
It's different.
And we have to be open to the newness. That's something that came up to me, letting go of the oldness and being open to the newness. And again, that gets us back into our process, you know, just being open to the newness of the process and knowing that sometimes the process can be messy. I saw a thing first thing this morning on
Mhm.
Instagram, and it was a cartoon about a person talking to the universe, saying, "Okay, universe, I want this one thing." And then the universe is like, "All right, snap." And then a lot of things that was in their life just goes away. And they're like, "But hey, what happened to all this stuff? I'm preparing you for what you asked for." And the little person's like, but I wanted all of that and this. Well, it doesn't work that way. You know, you have to let some of that go so that you can prepare yourself to receive this new thing that you say you want. And
Yeah,
that is a thing. And again, I was noticing that just how messy the process can be. And I like other people seeing my mess. Maybe it's because I'm used to being directed, so I actually like to have an extra set of eyes on things. Even if I disagree with them,
yeah,
at least I see it from a different perspective.
yeah. That takes a lot of emotional fortitude.
Oh, it
You know,
does.
it
Uh,
does. And you having gone to theater school, having that experience, I have an analogy that I created a few years ago.
mhm.
And this didn't come up for me until after Condor. I got the wrong book and bad, not good enough too much about shame, but the slate,
Oh yeah.
the movie
Mhm.
slate, mistakes. And so you get this automatically by going to school like you did. We set up a scene, you go take one, take two, take three.
Mhm.
And sometimes the director is like, that's not it, cut. Nobody
Right.
has any shame about it. Nobody gets all up, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Everybody sets back up and they go, hey, okay, these are my lines. Go shoot again. That wasn't
Right.
right. Cut. Take one, take two, take three. They're missed takes, right? So when it comes
Exactly.
to a mistake, I mean, if you can look at a quote mistake the same way without the judgment, without the shame, it's just a missed take. Set back up, lights, camera, action, go again.
Exactly. Even when it comes to live theater, well, actually, okay, so on film, even those mistakes might have some great portions that can be used later in the editing. And so my brain always goes back to that. It's like, even if we got three-quarters of the way through something, there might be some good shots in that. And so we look at that, and it's not all trash. There's still something salvageable there. I see that where there are a lot of people who are just like, oh, I made a mistake. It's all trash. No, you don't have to stop that. And I come from a background where we're used to rehearsing, getting the costumes, rehearsing, getting the set, rehearsing, and then doing full-on dress rehearsals just to see before we do the whole performance. So I'm okay with trying something and messing it up and then saying, okay, back to one, let's start over again. And I'm also okay with being in it and improvising if I do mess up and knowing that we're in process right now and we just keep on rolling. I have a question here.
Okay.
Could the desire to hide come from a form of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because what is imposter syndrome?
What's your definition of imposter syndrome?
My experience of imposter syndrome is feeling like you're faking. Like I'm
Hmm.
not good enough. I'm not actually good enough yet, or the fake it till you make it,
Hmm.
right? But what is embodying something that you have chosen to be? I'm choosing to be this.
Hmm.
So I just chose to be it. Now I'm being it. So I was on a call with one of my coaches yesterday talking about when somebody's doing something new, most people are generally bad at it. Most
Yeah.
people don't start something brand new and they're good at it. That's, I mean, there's occasions when people pick something up and, oh, you're a natural.
Right.
This can happen. And for most people, when you start something, you suck. You're going to be bad at it. Your first YouTube video, if you're writing poetry, you're writing a book, or you're not going to be as good as you are 5 years from now.
Right.
You're not going to be as good as you are a year from now. So
Exactly.
that's a process. But some people think I need to skip being bad. Well, you can't skip it, fam. So I heard a quote from someone years ago. Stop trying to not have imposter
Mhm.
syndrome and get fucking good at it.
Be okay with where you are.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I remember with my godson, we were doing a game, only had 3 turns. So it was anybody's game. And he starts saying, "Oh, I'm bad at this." You don't know. You could be good, but he's looking at where I am, and it's like, let the game play out. And he's also one that if he's up, if he's like, "Oh, I'm winning, you're gonna lose." And it's like, wait a minute. You don't know. It's anybody's game. Let's just play it out.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important for us to not guilt ourselves or not shame ourselves if for some reason it doesn't automatically come to us. It took us a while to fine tune everything that we do without thinking these days.
This can help people with imposter syndrome, confidence continuum.
Okay. What can we say about that?
Confidence continuum, y'all. If you imagine, put your left hand up, put your right hand up far apart from each other, and you have a line between those two hands. On the left side, and anywhere along this line is confidence, right? And so you can have on the left side, you have can't, won't, don't. On the right side, you have can, I am, I will. And so anywhere along this line is confidence. It's not that you don't have confidence. It's about what are you choosing to have confidence in. So you can
And
choose to have confidence in can't, won't, don't. You can also choose to have confidence in I can, I am, and I will. And when
Mhm.
you choose confidence in I can, I am, I will, this is where quote imposter syndrome gets easy because you know that you're getting better. You're putting in the reps, you're doing the work, you're not beating yourself up, you're getting better every time. This is a perspective shift.
And in that, you can have some moments of failure, you can have some moments of embarrassment, and it's okay to pick yourself right back up. I think it was Katharine Hepburn who said, "I had a fall." And when you've had a fall, you pick yourself right back up.
Because you can feel right after that fall, you can feel like, I can't do this. You cried out and like, nah, I got this
Well, the key to success is getting up one more time.
every time. Yep.
Yeah, you fall, you get up. You fail, you get up, you do it again. But to have one more success or one more try than your failures.
Failure is an interesting thing. I have a different perspective on it now.
One of the things that came from an old mentor of mine is that failure is not a bad thing, because you set your goals high. And even if you don't reach that goal, you can get a little bit closer. And
Mhm.
so it's like the idea of jumping 5 feet in the air. You don't start and immediately jump 5 feet in the air. You learn how to jump. You jump a foot, you jump 2 feet, you jump 3 feet. There's going to be times where you make it and times where you don't. But
Right.
you're getting the muscle memory. And I even saw someone who was learning how to do a backflip. You don't just automatically go into the backflip. There is a process that gets you prepared for it, that gets your body used to what that feels like. And so I think that's a wonderful thing to know that sometimes you need a coach, sometimes you need a cheerleader, sometimes you just need a spotter to help you as you are going through whatever it is you're going through. And there is no shame in that because we all learned from somebody else.
Yep. Facts.
What are some things that we can say to people? Like something that you would say to a person who was in process and you just wanted to give them an extra boost of confidence.
Trust the process because if you don't, well, you're going to stop
Right.
or you're going to change when that you could have kept trusting the process and kept going, and something could change like that.
Hmm.
Then you're not trusting the process. You give up and go completely down a whole different track. And that thing that was awesome about to happen for you, the universe, God, spirit, how whatever you want to use to call that power, is like, well, they were not trusting that it was working out and that I had their back. Pull the
Hmm.
rug up out of that thing. Last week, I was feeling like,
And you trusted the
and
process.
trusting the process, and bang, like, what's up?
Exactly.
Let's go. So, in anything big or game changing, something could happen in a moment.
The universe likes to surprise us. And so we say what we would like to see happen, and the universe finds a way to make it so.
And some people call that God works in mysterious ways.
Hmm.
But you got to be willing to trust in
Right.
mysterious too.
Exactly.
While being specific about how you want your life to look. What does your life feel like? What does it look like? What does it feel
Mhm.
like? What does it smell like? Literally, what does it feel like to sit in that seat, that chair you want, or whatever it is, have that relationship you want, be in that body? Like, what does it feel like? How do I show up when that thing is already that way?
That's kind of how vision boards work. You're seeing yourself in this space. I remember at one point in time, I wanted a promotion, and I went and I found the person who currently had the job. So I got the card from one of them and scratched out their name and wrote my name in it. And I just kept looking at it and saying, like, this is me as that title. I ended up with it. And it was a huge reach for me. I still saw it. I saw it happening. And there were so many times that I have just seen myself with a thing, and I've just been like, okay, it's gonna happen. I just see it. And I have, vision boards are a thing. Mine is actually in my bedroom, so I'm not going to go grab it. But I do have a board that's just like, okay, this is where I'm headed. And I used to be very specific in it. And now, because I've got things that are kind of cool, I'm being a little bit more vague with the vision board because I want the universe to surprise me.
Specific and vague is,
Hmm.
they work very well together, but it depends on what are you being specific about and what are you being vague about. Because some
Right.
specificity can lock you into a box and not leave
Hmm.
it up to the infinite possibilities of awesomeness happening in your life. But
Exactly.
there's also vagueness that can keep you from getting what it is that you want. But it's about being, to me, and what I've learned, it's about being skilled in knowing what to be specific about and what to be vague about.
Right. It's like when you're painting, you can have a happy little accident, you know?
Yeah.
I have a story that happened to a friend of mine. Be careful what you pray for. And actually, I have two stories around that. But one is a friend of mine from college really wanted this radio internship. She prayed and prayed and prayed, and it's like, I just need this thing to happen. She got the internship, and it was the worst experience
Mm,
of her life.
mm.
And she was like, I don't know why. It's because there was something better out there, but you just wanted this one thing. And so you got what you asked for, and it wasn't what was best. So you have to trust that the universe is, and you can say universe, you can say God, you can say your guides, whatever.
Yeah.
You can call it what you want, but it's that trusting of they are hearing what you're asking for, and you can allow them to do this or something better. Like whenever I'm manifesting, I'm always saying this or something better because I might not know.
That's a skillful way of being vague,
Yes, this or something better.
but it's
Like
still
I've seen
specific.
this, I like this, I want this as the baseline, and then you can surprise me with something better.
Specific as in
Than
a,
before.
this is a standard, but
Yes.
you know what? This can
Yeah,
be up here too.
exactly. And so I think that that's a wonderful thing to know that sometimes, it's gonna be a little messy.
Yeah.
if you have to be moved. Like, say, for instance, if you're looking for a specific type of housing or if you're looking for a specific relationship, sometimes you have to be moved to get to the place to have that. And moving can be a pain in the butt, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, I have to pack all this stuff. And it's interesting how even if you want, like, say if you just want to get paid more, maybe it means that you have to leave the job you're at to get that extra bump. And so, both of us really work in affirmations. I've done several affirmation decks,
Oh yeah. Oh, you got the
and it
decks.
and it's so important to be able to create an affirmation that says what you want. Now, there are some basic affirmations that just get you prepared for the bigger work. But, I do feel that like the quality of the affirmation comes in, and I'll just quickly say it comes in having short, complete thoughts. Because when people start out, and this is a thing that I've noticed with clients that I've dealt with, people start out with the self-care part, and they start out with all the bells and whistles. And it's like, what's the foundation look like?
Mm.
What are you prettying up? Because that's the thing. Because people will put on this huge production and it can be real pretty. And again, I'm a theater person. I know how to make something look like it's a
Yeah,
castle.
but you can put what's the saying? You can put makeup on a pile of shit,
Well, it's like
and
you can
it's
make it a
still
pretty box and it still be full of shit.
and that box doesn't smell very good.
I was at a party with some friends. We were all sitting around, and somebody had been to the bathroom and done the unspeakable. And somebody walked out, and it's like, this place smells like shit. And so they're like, well, did you spray? We had some perfume or something, and we went in there and sprayed. And then another friend's like, well, now it smells like shit and roses.
Yeah,
So it's the thing that's sometimes you're just covering up and it's still
yeah,
you
yeah,
yeah, it's like if you're making a cake, you can have a hole and then you can just put a bunch of icing over it and just kind of gloss it over. It'll still look pretty, but the hole's still there. And I
mhm.
think that that's something for us to consider. What are some of the things that we can tell people on how to manage the criticism that can be projected upon us as we are working through our stuff?
Sometimes people are criticizing from a place of one, they want you to dim your light because reflecting to them that
Hmm.
they aren't living up to what they want. They have something that they're not going after. They have
Hmm.
something they want to do, but they don't have the courage to do it. Their criticism is coming from a place of don't go too hard or don't shine your light because it makes me feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing based on what my inner being is telling me to do.
It's like, don't get too big, don't get too bright, because that'll make me feel smaller. But then there's also those people who criticize where it's just like, and again, I welcome this kind of criticism when you're like, did you mean to say this word? Because it changes how the sentence reads, you know?
Yeah, there's
Or if it's something like that, or did you realize that you put the wrong color here, or you put a different color here? Because again, it might not be wrong, it could be a choice.
yeah.
And that's a thing that comes from working with the people I worked with in theater. I won't say that it comes from theater because everybody's experience
Well,
is different.
it's built into ideology. It's built into different philosophical constructs. It's built into religions. There's a part in the Bible when Jesus was about to get killed. He asked the people who wanted to kill him, "Why do you want to kill me?" And they said, "Because you blaspheme and you say you're the Son of God." And
Hmm.
Jesus literally said, "Does it not say in my word or whatever? Does
Hmm.
it not didn't I say ye are gods?" And when Jesus said
Yes.
that, it's in red in the Bible, and it was
Hmm.
a little g, right? But yet, you're not
Hmm.
saying that you are the whole, the
Right.
all, you are a part of it. I never heard a preacher talk about that when I was in church growing up. And this was something that was in red in the Bible, meaning Jesus said it out of his mouth. There's also a philosophical Greek mythology, man was pushing this rock up a mountain, and as soon as this person got high enough, God would strike him down.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is built into these sorts of constructs that are deep seated, that have been being taught for a long time. Don't call yourself a God because you're blaspheming, even if Jesus said that you are one.
Yeah.
Don't get too high. Don't shine your light too much.
What comes up is the story about the Tower of Babel,
Mm,
where they were building a tower to be able to get to heaven, and
right.
and then they were all struck with different languages so that
Yeah.
they could no longer do it. Religion as a construct, no matter what it is trying to corral the
Yeah.
masses.
Yep.
And so that's going to be a whole nother episode. So we'll talk about that later. I want to give you, the listeners, permission to be seen, to be heard, to be in your growth and learning process, and to be messy as fuck.
I'll second that.
So, thank you all for joining us in the portal. Please like and follow for more, and check out our links in the description. Share this with a friend, maybe a few. If you have questions or topics for us, please send them to the permission portal at gmail.com. That is the permission portal, all one word, at gmail.com. And remember,
The portal is always open.